The film opens with Jack Bondurant driving alongside his brothers, Forrest and Howard. Through narration, Jack recounts how, during the Prohibition era of the 1920s, when the sale and production of alcohol were outlawed, the Bondurant brothers thrived as bootleggers in Franklin County, Virginia. By 1931, even the local sheriff was purchasing liquor from them. After Howard survived the drowning of his entire battalion and Forrest overcame the Spanish flu, the brothers came to believe they were invincible. Nothing can kill us. We can't die, Jack reflects. Meanwhile, America's cities were gripped by an unprecedented crime wave. Gangsters like Al Capone, Tommy Malloy, and Floyd Banner dominated the streets, amassing wealth with ease. One evening, the Bondurant brothers drive to a send-off celebration to deliver a shipment of liquor. Forrest instructs Jack to stay behind and guard the vehicle while he and Howard head inside.
Give me your money, boy.
Suddenly, a man confronts Jack with a knife, demanding money. Jack, visibly shaken, insists he's only the driver. When Forrest and Howard return, Forrest calmly tells the man and his companions to leave.
You don't want to do this. Why don't you put that knife away, take you and your friends on home.
As he distracts them with idle chatter, he abruptly strikes the man with brass knuckles, knocking him out and sending the others fleeing. Howard mocks Jack's fear, and the brothers drive off. Later that night, the Bondurants arrive at a bar to complete their delivery. While there, Jack notices Bertha Minix, the daughter of the local preacher. The next day, Forrest meets Maggie Buford, a dancer from Chicago applying for a job as a waitress at the Bondurant bar. Impressed by her demeanor, Forrest and his brothers hire her on the spot. One afternoon, Jack witnesses mobster Floyd Banner step out of his car wielding a Tommy gun. Banner opens fire on a rival vehicle, eliminating his target in broad daylight. As Floyd returns to his car, he and Jack exchange a glance. Jack collects a few spent shell casings and later visits his friend, Cricket Pate, to recount the incident. He gives Cricket one of the casings, and together they use Cricket's house as a front for the Bondurants' illegal operations, concealing their distillation equipment in the basement. Meanwhile, the Bondurant bar receives an unwelcome visit from the local sheriff and Special Agent Charlie Rakes, a ruthless enforcer working under District Attorney Mason Wardle. Rakes informs Forrest that he expects a share of their bootlegging profits in exchange for safe passage through the county. Forrest refuses, threatening both Wardle and Rakes, and warns Rakes that if he returns, he will kill him. That evening, Forrest gathers the other bootleggers and urges them to stand firm against Rakes' intimidation. Despite their initial resistance, the group ultimately succumbs to Rakes' violent intimidation tactics. The following day, Howard mocks Jack, prompting him to storm out of the bar with a full jar of liquor. Intoxicated, Jack attends church hoping to see Bertha, but ends up humiliating himself and leaving in disgrace. In response, Bertha's father forbids her from seeing Jack, which only deepens her curiosity and leads her to flirt with him. Meanwhile, Rake arrives at Cricket's house with two deputies, intent on uncovering illegal distillation equipment. When Jack attempts to intervene and the agents fail to find any evidence, Rake viciously assaults him with his firearm. Jack warns that his brothers will retaliate, but Rake responds by repeatedly punching him until he loses consciousness. Upon learning of the attack, Forrest reprimands Jack for allowing himself to be beaten and urges him to learn how to fight. Jack, frustrated, questions whether he's capable, unlike Forrest or Howard. Forrest replies that it's not violence that defines a man, but his willingness to endure. "We are survivors," he says, "and we control fear." Soon after, two sheriff's deputies arrive with a warrant for Forrest. However, they are visibly intimidated and hesitate. Howard then appears and violently assaults them, nearly force-feeding one gasoline before Forrest intervenes to stop him. That evening, Maggie returns to her apartment, only to be threatened by Rake. The next day, Forrest and Howard prepare to meet potential clients from Chicago. However, Howard misses the meeting, opting instead to drink with friends. At the bar, the clients harass Maggie and brandish a firearm. She defends herself by stabbing one in the hand. In retaliation, Forrest, assisted by Cricket, brutally beats the men with brass knuckles and ejects them from the bar.
Oh boy, you sack of shit, but I'll blow your goddamn brains out if you move.
Maggie later tends to Forrest's injuries and thanks him as he escorts her to her car. After Cricket departs, the attackers return and ambush Forrest, slashing his throat and leaving him for dead in the snow. Sensing danger, Maggie returns to the bar but is confronted and seized by the assailants. The next day, Howard and Jack visit Forrest in the hospital, astonished to learn he survived and managed to walk there on his own. That night, Forrest, still recovering, tells Howard he should have been there. Maggie later visits Forrest and announces her decision to leave, explaining that she fled Chicago to escape men like them. Forrest insists her departure isn't necessary and urges her to stay, assuring her she'd be safer with him and his brothers. Determined to make a major sale, Jack secretly takes the key to their liquor stash and sets off for Chicago with Cricket. En route, their car stalls. Cricket had forgotten to refuel. In a moment of desperation, he pours their liquor into the gas tank, which surprisingly works, allowing them to continue. Upon arrival, they meet with client Gummy Walsh but are double-crossed and ambushed by mobsters who throw them into a freshly dug grave, preparing to execute them. Just before the shooting, mob boss Floyd Banner arrives. After Jack mentions he's from Blackwater Station, Banner intervenes and spares them. To demonstrate the liquor's quality, Jack sets it ablaze, impressing Banner, who agrees to purchase it at a premium. Banner also reveals he knows about the attack on Forrest and provides the assailant's address, warning they're working for Rake. The next day, Jack and Cricket return to the bar where Forrest and Howard await. Before they can reprimand him, Jack proudly announces he secured double the usual price for their liquor and presents the attacker's address, courtesy of Banner. Later, Jack visits Bertha and shows off his new camera, taking her photograph. That night, upon returning home, Jack discovers his brothers have left without him. Realizing their intent, he drives to the address Banner provided and finds Forrest and Howard already there, torturing and executing the men responsible for Forrest's assault. Following the confrontation, Howard hands Jack a bag and instructs him to deliver it to Rakes. The next day, Rakes receives the package and is horrified by its gruesome contents. Floyd Banner becomes a regular client of the Bondurant brothers, who relocate their distillation equipment deep into the woods. Their bootlegging operation thrives, generating substantial profits. With his newfound wealth, Jack continues courting Bertha, while Forrest begins a relationship with Maggie, who moves into the bar for her own protection. One day, Jack takes Bertha to visit their hidden distillery. Unbeknownst to them, Rakes and his men have secretly followed her.
Here, take her. Go to the station, I'll meet you there. Go, goddammit, go! Go to the right! You think we scared them off?
During the ambush, Howard subdues Rakes.
Remember me?
And Jack nearly kills him but hesitates. Before they can finish the fight, Rakes' men force them to retreat, leaving behind Bertha and Cricket. Later, Rakes captures Cricket and murders him by snapping his neck. Driven by vengeance, Jack sets out to confront Rakes and his men at a roadblock on the local bridge. Howard follows, rallying fellow bootleggers to join the fight. Forrest eventually decides to go as well, despite Maggie's pleas. In a moment of vulnerability, Maggie confesses that she was the one who found Forrest bleeding from his throat wound and took him to the hospital. Forrest realizes she must have been attacked that night too, though Maggie insists she was not sexually assaulted. A violent shootout erupts between the bootleggers and Rakes' men. Amid the chaos, Rakes shoots Forrest multiple times, leaving him critically wounded. Jack, also injured, pursues Rakes onto the bridge and shoots him in the chest.
Stay calm. Let it be, Jimmy.
Fuck!
Howard then delivers the final blow, stabbing Rakes with a large knife and leaving him to bleed out. With Rakes and his men eliminated, the Bondurant brothers decide to retire from bootlegging, choosing to safeguard their earnings as Prohibition nears its end. Jack marries Bertha, Forrest weds Maggie, and Howard settles down with a local woman. Each begins a new chapter, starting families and leaving behind their violent past. Years later, during a family gathering at Jack's home, a drunken Forrest dances on a frozen lake. The ice breaks, and he falls into the frigid water. He contracts pneumonia and passes away a few weeks later. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing. Have a great day.